Welcome to Chess Dog. I'm John Montgomery, and today we have a fun game. It's a miniature that teaches us how to attack an uncastled king. When your opponent's king is in the middle of the board, how do we attack? And it is a game from many years ago, a correspondence game, and White began by playing c4, the English opening. White is someone named Meeson, Black is someone named Mueller, and Black responds with e5, knight c3, knight f6, knight f3, knight c6. This is the English four knights variation. After d4, e4, knight d4, bishop b4. This is all mainline stuff. And now in this position, White played knight takes c6, and Black responded with b c6. This is playable, but Black's doing pretty good here. And White decides to fianchetto his kingside bishop, get it on the long diagonal, and play g3. But that's somewhat of a slow move. Black responds by playing queen to e7 and lining that queen up opposite the king. White goes ahead with bishop to g2, and Black plays bishop to a6, targeting the c4 pawn and threatening sort of an X-ray attack against the e2 square. So White defends the c4 pawn by playing queen to d3. What he should have done here is played queen to d4 and defend the c4 pawn with the queen that way. But by playing queen to d3, he's self-pinned his own pawn against the queen. And so Black, seeing the pin on this c4 pawn, responds with d5. He's saying, I've got a lead in development, my opponent's king is in the center, my bishops are well placed, I want to open up lines, and what better way to do it than against the c4 pawn, which is pinned to the queen. So White plays b3 to defend that c4 pawn. The better option would have been to go ahead and sacrifice that pawn, just give it up, castles, bishop c4, queen to c2. And in this position, Black is actually only a little bit better here. He is better. He's up a pawn, but Black's pieces are awkwardly placed, and he has a few pawn weaknesses. But instead, White continued with defending the c4 pawn with b3, and Black pushed the pawn to d4. The knight at c3 is also pinned by the bishop at b4. And Black's just threatening to take the knight right now because it's attacked by the pawn and the bishop. So in order to save that knight, White has to take that pawn with the queen. But now, look at this. Rook to d8, hitting the queen. And look at all of these lines. The e and the d file, the queen and the rook just sweep down. The a6 to f1 diagonal, the a5 to e1 diagonal. So look at those files and diagonals with that king right in the middle of the board, and you can tell White is in big trouble. White came up with sort of a last-ditch effort to defend. First, he played bishop takes c6 check, and when Black played king to f8, he played the bishop back to d5, blocking that file. Can you see the winning tactical blow for Black here? Well, actually, there's more than one. But the one played in the game, rook takes d5. And an odd footnote here, by the way, that this game was actually played twice. Once in 1928, and later by two completely different people in 1950. In the first game, mate was allowed to occur. In the second game, White actually resigned in the position on the board that you see before you. But in the first game, he went ahead and took that rook with the pawn. Otherwise, he would just lose the queen to the knight. And then the final move of the game, you guessed it, queen takes e2 mate. The queen is defended by the bishop at a6, and the knight looks like it defends the e2 square, but it does not, because the bishop at b4 has an absolute pin on that knight against the king. The knight can't move. Queen e2 is checkmate. So this is a fun miniature that shows us a very effective attack against an uncastled king. If you got value from this video, as a way of saying thank you, I would love if you click the like button, and be sure to join us again on Chess Dog. Talk to you later.